I am Sean Larkey of Awards Daily here with the extraordinary Jane Levy once again. Jane, thank you so much for giving me even more of your time. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, of course. I love speaking with you.
It's after the finale, so I need to dig into that with you. What was your reaction when you read the script and saw the twist and all of that? I need to know the play-by-play on that one.
Okay, so for a long time, since middle of season 1, I have been in conversation with Austin about another character getting the power. Who was going to get it wasn't totally worked out. When this person was going to get it wasn't totally worked out, but it's always been his idea to open up the show. And also he says, which I appreciate, that he's always looking for ways to get me to sing and dance more that are justified, and someone else having the power makes that opportunity happen. And I'm really excited about that because I love singing and dancing. So I have known since the beginning of the season that the end of season 2 was going to shake down this way. And I think it's a really clever idea because, we got to pick us up for a 3rd season with that ending.
Yeah, you gotta hint.
Yeah.
So how does that then, knowing that, and I didn't know that, but how does that then shape your performance through the season? Did you find yourself dropping sort of Easter eggs, or did you approach it as you always have? What was your approach?
Yeah, I mean, if you rewatch the season, you will see in the writing a lot. There are hints dropped along the way, or just scenes that set us up for this reveal, where Max is very upset about the fact that Zoey can hear his thoughts and he can't hear hers, and that just creates a power imbalance, and it F's up the relationship, for lack of a better way to describe it. And so, when we see Mitch in the dream sequence in the finale of season 2, he says to her, "Who do you think you're screaming at when you're yelling up there?" And, Mitch has now become a part of the universe. And I believe that Mitch supernaturally gifted the power to Max so that Zoey could be in a healthy relationship and find love.
I love that theory. My theory, and this is not just mine, that allowing her to finally be open with Max was what sort of gave him the power into her head, the same way that she has the power. Interesting. I love that so much. And one thing that I wanted to discuss with you is that I love that Zoey, in watching her character have these sort of emotional breakthroughs and aha moments on screen, I think that that's very healthy, and it's very unique. And so I wanted to ask you about playing that, and then also, just your thoughts on that and how that's shaped you and your aha moments and your personal growth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I tweeted about this the other day, and I'm not sure my tweet was that eloquent. I'm not sure it makes total sense, but what you're talking about is what I've been thinking about this last week. When I watched the finale, I saw somebody who had a breakthrough and decided to make the scarier, but I think the ultimately more fulfilling choice, which is you got to go after what you love, and you can't be afraid of going after what you love just because you're afraid that maybe one day you're going to lose it, because life is transitory, things change, but love is, the most important. And she loves Max. And so she goes after him finally once and for all. And, you see that moment so clearly in the dream when she says, "I really screwed things up with Max." All I had to say was this thing, and I can't do it, and there must be something wrong with me. But, look what happened to you. It's life is so painful sometimes, and life is painful sometimes, but it's also beautiful. And, we got to be brave. And I saw Zoey with courage go after what she wanted. And yeah, I think, I like your theory too.
And I wanted to ask you about, the season 2 finale with the father-daughter very much mirrors season 1, and as you said, it gives us another opportunity sort of track Zoey's growth, and where she is in that season 1 finale. And so what are your thoughts about that, and of course reuniting with the greatest TV dad of all time? Because you and I are of the OC generation, so like Peter Gallagher just radiates warmth and joy.
The longer you play a character, the more history you have with them. And, you know, having this flashback episode was so fun to be able to explore what Zoey, what bright-eyed 5 years ago Zoey with no pain and suffering is like. That was really fun. But, you know, when you're talking about the finales mirroring each other, I do think that the two final numbers from season 1 and season 2 are so different and so equally impactful. You know, American Pie was a wake. It was a musical wake. And then the end of season 2, you know, we went from this extremely cathartic breakthrough aha moment with her dad in the dream to just like bursting joy. And I felt like season 2 ended with hope. And I was just like, wow, we really pulled off so many things between season 1 and season 2.
And obviously it's hard because we don't know if there's going to be more Zoe. We hope for it, but I mean, what are your hopes and dreams for where she's going to go from here after she's had this big breakthrough? What do you envision for her? What do you want for her?
Well, the thing that I'm thinking about the most as the performer who plays Zoe is the fact that I get to sing and dance a lot next season, because Max can hear Zoe's thoughts. That makes room for that. And I'm really excited.
And I know you get asked this question 1,000 times, but have you thought about, oh, I think this number would be great for her. Oh, I think.
Totally. I have many ideas. I don't want to spoil them just in case, you know, we get a season 3 and I gave away all my ideas too early on, but I have a list on my phone of all the songs that I want to sing. I have ideas of certain scenes. I've been working with a vocal coach twice a week. I am ready.
Let's do it. I'm curious because as we were talking about, you're playing a character that makes so many mistakes, and so how do you allow her to be, you know, vulnerable and lovable? Did you ever find that a challenge? You know, because you've told me before, like, you also get frustrated with her. So how do you find that balance of, like, you know, letting her be kind of annoying at times or difficult, or, you know, is that a challenge for you per se? You know?
No, I mean, you know, people are complex. People are not, there's no such thing as a nice guy or like a bitch, you know, like people are different people with their mothers. People are different people at work. People are different people when they're in pain. People are different people when they've just had some sort of triumphant success, you know, like people are people.
Mm-hmm. And what did you find sort of, I guess, and this is the classic question of like, what was maybe the most challenging for you? Did you have any moments where you look back and you're like, I can't believe I did that and I pulled that off and it felt like such a magic trick? You know what I mean?
I mean, it all sort of feels like that. This show pulls off so much in just one episode. You know, we have 8 days to shoot each episode, and that's what most hour longs have, yet we're doing 5 to 9 musical numbers in that time frame. And so I'm so impressed. When I watched the finale the other day, I was like, the amount of work that goes into that episode that we just watched in 42 minutes is colossal. The amount of work that goes into every moment. So I am just like, yeah, in awe of our collaborative work that we've done on the show. And like, sometimes I can't believe we pull it off. I mean, the things that I remember the most fondly from this season are like, you know, times that I got to sing and dance. I love doing starships. I thought that was a really fun, clever way to use the power. And for me to be able to sing is that it's all in my head while I'm on whatever non-disclosed drug.
Obviously we are awards daily, and it was so fun watching you at the Golden Globes because I could tell how happy you were that Catherine O'Hara won. Like, you had a little fangirl moment when her name was called, and I was like, that completely tracks. But as you're going into this sort of Emmy season, and obviously we don't know what's gonna happen, I don't want to jinx you, but what are your thoughts on that, on going through this whole awards experience and getting such positive feedback and, you know, having this moment, if you will?
I feel really touched, honored, lucky. You know, to be even talked about in the same space as some of these incredible actors that I've grown up watching and admiring just feels like surreal, but also, you know, we make work to be seen. And I feel like it's the work that I've done is being seen and it's being acknowledged. And ultimately, I think, awards for art are arbitrary, but at the same time, I think that it's great to honor people. And I, I guess I just feel like, just freaking honored. And I put so much work into Zoe's, and I'm glad people are watching it, and I'm glad that Zoe's experience or my work can move and people to tears or to laughter. That is so moving. And then yeah, I just I also am like in sort of like a business sense, it feels like maybe because of these conversations I'll be able to get to work on more things, and that would be
Right.
awesome because I love acting.
Do you have any sort of dream projects? Well, because this is the other thing that I was going to ask you is I had the glorious opportunity of my career to talk to Mandy Moore the other day. And something that she said that really touched me was she said, my life has been Zoeyed. And she said, anything that I do from here is going to be different because this show has taught me to tap into what I do in such a different way than I had before. And so for you, whether or not, obviously we hope that there's going to be more, but like, regardless, how do you then take all these little things that you've learned from this and apply that to anything that, how has your life been Zoeyed, long story short?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I it's such a big job for me, in a lot of ways I sort of have to carry the show on my shoulders. It sounds a little bit overly dramatic, but I do have a lot of
I
responsibility.
mean, you are the Zoey in Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist, so I think that's a good statement. And
okay, so
yeah,
I feel like I've learned so much about acting, about leadership, about work stamina, about expressing through song and dance. Absolutely, this job has changed me forever. Certainly.
and lastly, we saw some storylines kind of wrap, in that season 2 finale, like Zoey and Simon. I don't know. It looks like kind of the end of that chapter. How did you feel about that and their relationship and sort of the other plot lines? Do you think it's really the end, or do you think there's some potential to dig in further?
I think if Zoey keeps flip-flopping, the audience will like jump through the screen and like strangle her. So I don't know if there's any room for her getting back together with Simon. I do think that is the end. I had opinions about the love triangle that I'll keep to myself.
Fair.
I love, Skylar Aston, and I love Jon Stewart, and I love that we get to work together so intimately.
Yeah. Well, Jane, thank you so much for digging into this a little further with me and giving me your time. I appreciate it so much. It's always such a joy to get to.
Yeah, thank you so much for your support. I love talking to you.
I love the show so much. I'm rooting for you all. So